Yo guys, what's up? It's Elements. I just want to make a quick little vlog about this Richard Lewis post, concerning Wicked and SOAS, and how they're saying that the community kind of treats them unfairly, and they like to take breaks, from the scene. It's like social media because the hate can be really overwhelming sometimes, and he basically tries to sum up his thread quite nicely here when he says, after quoting Wicked's first post, he says, well, you don't need to be a wind talker to read through the lines. It's essentially a ransom note. Be nice to us, or maybe we'll be around less. And I want to expand on that a little bit. So I've been in a similar situation as this before. For those who know my history, it's been a long, hard road, and I've had my fair share of criticism, negativity, and everything else around my name. And I, haven't always handled it the best. But sometimes it's also been, kind of ridiculous. But the main thing, there's a couple points I want to take out of this article, and it's first of all that esports and sports are uncomparable. Esports and sports are uncomparable because the amount of time and effort put into the community from the esports professionals vastly outweighs what the professional sports players do. Like vastly. Like I don't see any professional sports players streaming practices, streaming games, interacting, playing with fans, other than the odd charity event or fundraiser that they may be doing. So I really think that it kind of hurts esports professionals' feelings a little bit more when they get put on the chopping block, when they really try their best to interact with fans and be a part of the community, but when that community just chews you up and spits you out, it's it's really bad feeling, obviously. And I want to kind of segue into another part here, quote, and it says, the realities of being a professional player are incredibly skewed in their favor, especially those playing now as opposed to the pioneers that made it possible, who won mouse mats and vouchers instead of hundreds of thousands of dollars. So I'm quoting this even though he might not mean that every esports professional makes hundreds of thousands of dollars, because they don't. The esports professionals who make hundreds of thousands of dollars are probably I'd say 5 to 3% out of every single pro out there in all of esports. I'd say probably between 3 and 5% actually make close to or over $100,000. I'd probably say the vast majority of esports professionals make anywhere from $25,000 to $30,000 is probably, I'd say, a good guesstimate for the average esports professional. And that really isn't a lot of money. So when you also compare esports to sports, and you have your David Beckham quote in here, saying that oh, they used to David Beckham would go to the football field, and he would the fans would be screaming and shouting about his wife and saying all these bad things, and his that's the mother of his child that they're shouting about. But I'm sure David can just like pick up a couple of those $100 bills to wipe up his tears, because that that guy is making multi-million dollars. And for most of these athletes, they don't give a fuck that they're getting scrutinized on Twitter, because what, half these guys don't even interact on the Twitter. They throw out the occasional tweet, hey, good game here, blah 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 blah. Most sports professionals aren't really in the scene when it comes to this online persona perspective. So when you say that where is it again, you say that the reality is for oh, what was that quote? I just missed it. I just had it. Basically saying that it's set for us, and we should be more appreciative for what we have. I kind of agree with another quote here. I'm gonna jump into this from Mike Peterson again, Wicked. He posted his response to Richard Lewis, and then Dexter replies, in general, the community should be more grateful that pro players are interacting with it, unlike real sports. And I have to absolutely agree with that. And then Cutie Pie says, like, you should be more grateful that the community cares about us. If you don't want to interact, I'll take your fans. And honestly, that's kind of a snarky thing for Keto to say, because I think the community should be more grateful that the pros interact, because we go so much farther than any other, quote unquote professional sports people to interact and be involved with our communities, that when shit gets thrown in our face over and over and over again, like, I don't know if you guys watch, but anytime anyone wins, as Wicked said in his article, their praise is God. It's like they're fucking gods. Oh my god, he's godlike. Doublelift is godlike. Reggie's godlike. Björk said godlike. Everyone's godlike. And then when people lose, they're shit. Oh, they're shit. They threw. They're bad. There's this, that, that. And it's just this, one side or the other. And it really does take its toll on these players. I honestly don't see how you can say this leave Britney alone post and have this huge article basically about how pro players in esports are basically a bunch of whiny bitches and should be more grateful that the community is even interacting with them. You know what? Fuck that. I think the community should be more grateful that the esports community is that involved. What we see, Twitch is the 4th most watched like internet page or something on the internet. Guess who funds that? The esports community. The esports community, the esports professionals are the ones who are out there day and night streaming for disgusting amounts of hours at a time, providing content, free fun. All you got to do is subscribe if you really like them, and they're there sweating every single day and then getting up on stage to even be more scrutinized after they streamed that whole time. So you know what? I really don't agree with that. I really don't agree with this leave Britney alone, and I honestly think that pro players should be, honestly praised a little bit more than they do. I do have to agree, though, in your article that, for the most part, the casters in LCS are going a little bit lighter, but the community itself is going to bite the head off of anybody who makes any small little mistake. For instance, Wild Turtle failed his flash the other day in LCS. It was for like 5 minutes in Twitch chat. Even saw some shit on Reddit about, oh, they need to bench Turtle, they need to do this, jump to conclusion. And I get, people on the internet can say some, extremely, fucked up shit sometimes. But, to the extent that people go to in the esports community compared to what the sports community, the professional sports community has to deal with, honestly, it's uncomparable. And trying to make comparisons, honestly, I just think is kind of stupid, because they don't compare. Esports professionals put in so much more time to the community than sports professionals do. It's completely different worlds. And for the fact that everything we do is on the internet. These aren't live sporting events that we always go to. Most of the stuff we do is online. So guess what? Everyone can have their opinion thrown right into your face at once, all at any given time. And that's also, I think, why people get so upset. That's why SOAS is like, like, I played bad and everyone made me feel like shit, and there wasn't any constructive criticism, so I kind of want to take a break. I don't really want to get on social media. I don't want to do this. And you know what? I fully agree with this. Is like, be nicer and you'll probably see more pros around. I mean, that's really what it is. If you support people, they're around longer. And I want to give like another good example of this. So when I was doing my tier list for like 2.5 years, it's kind of my claim to fame. I used to do my tier list, and I used to have long, engaging discussions with people about where champions would lie on the tier list and where they would go, and back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And the tier list was awesome. I absolutely loved it, dude. I loved interacting with the community. I loved being involved. I wanted people to prove me wrong in my tier list because I could have a great discussion, and I just loved talking about League of Legends. But as time went on, and the tier list kind of lost some of its popularity and stuff like that, every time I released it, it gradually grew to more and more and more hate. Every single time I posted something, it would just be flooded with comments about how wrong I am in really negative ways. It wasn't like, oh, I disagree and here's why. It's like, hey, you're fucking retarded. You probably shouldn't do tier lists anymore. And it's like, well, how is that? How do I take any of that and move forward? And eventually I just stopped doing my tier list because it's like, well, do I really want to get shit on all, by posting my opinion online again? No, not really. So I don't really want to keep posting my tier list, and that's honestly why I stopped. So I can relate to these guys. I can relate to Soaz, and I can relate to Wicked, you know? It doesn't feel good, and you know what? If you want us to keep streaming and being content providers and providing you guys with, you know, free entertainment day in, day out, articles about how to get better, which is so above and beyond that any other sports professionals in any other sport really do, you know, beside the select few who do the charity events, then yeah, I would say be nicer. I would say support your guys. And you know, another thing said in here, this Richard Lewis article, is that, you know, oh, it's just the vocal minority of haters that do that. Well, where the fuck is the vocal minority of good guys, of supporters, of the people backing these teams? Where is the support from the community? Because all we get are these people, you know, shit talking. Well, why isn't that shit downvoted into oblivion? Why isn't there a post saying, hey man, like, I really like what you did here, but I don't agree with this? Where are these supportive posts? And I gotta tell you, they're not around. So, or actually, I won't say they're not around, but for the most part, they're not around. They are few and far between compared to these, you know, vocal minority of haters, which I honestly gotta say sounds like the vocal majority, the vocal vast majority, because those are the ones who talk. And, you know, you can say you don't read it, but it's always thrown in people's faces. So, you know what, as I say it again, if you really want, you know, esports professionals to continue going on, to continue being involved in the community, you should support your streamers. You should support your pros. You should support everything esports if you do. And if you see them being picked on, you know what? Yeah. Support them. Build them up. Build these people up. People only do better things when they're supported. If you break them down and you chew them and spit them out, you're never going to have the great esports community that you want. So, from pro players to fans, if everybody stops calling each other shit, everybody starts, you know, doing a little bit more constructive criticism. I'm not saying it all needs to go away. Obviously, some shit gets really bad, you know, like, hey, I whiff salties, fuck it, whatever, I'm shit. But go on and say something, you know, different too. Maybe, you know, maybe pump up Soaz a little bit. Don't, you know, these people need to really, you know, start getting behind these, you know, we'll call them athletes, if you really want a great community. So that's really all I gotta say, and yeah, that's kind of my 2 cents on the matter. Peace.